Live by the sword, die by the sword. And when I say die, I mean a lot. Hiya friends, I'm Shenanigan, and today I embrace my inner stabby lad in Ghost of Tsushima. As the titular ghost, I have access to a plethora of tools to defeat the Mongol horde ravaging my home. Kunai, bows, assassination takedowns, poison, smoke bombs, and oh yeah, grenades! Truly an arsenal that would terrify any Mongol invader. So let's not use any of that. Time to be a true samurai. I have my trusty blade, about half my wits, and a chiseled body. Nothing more needed. To really capture the dangerous samurai life, let's make the difficulty lethal, so everyone dies in 1 or 2 blows. That surely won't backfire horribly. Let's go stop an invasion and learn a thing or two about honor. Oh, and it'd likely be the honorable thing to let you know, spoilers ahead. I am Jin Sakai, nephew to this dude here, Lord Shimura. Life ain't going so swell for us right now. As honorable samurai, we're greatly outnumbered by a massive Mongol invasion force led by this evil dude, Colton Khan. But don't worry, with honor in our hearts and the role of underdogs, we're sure to win this, right? Not exactly. I even pulled a Kenobi and made use of the high ground. Guess it wasn't enough. Thankfully, I'm not dead. Getting shot by a bunch of arrows, though, is a very handy excuse to sleep in. Turns out I've been rescued by Yuna here, a thief who wants my help freeing her brother from the Mongols. Before I do that, I find my soulmate and best friend forever, Sora the horse. Having a horse bestie is a lifelong dream accomplished. Yeah. I confront Mr. Khan, but he shows me I'm not the only one with plot armor before chucking me off the bridge where, to my surprise, I'm perfectly fine. Everybody knows mortal wounds only last one scene, of course. I head off for a dramatic title card before realizing all the missions are in the opposite direction. Jen knows how to add drama, though, for sure. I'm faced with my first impossible choice as the game forces me to perform an assassination in order to progress. I really did try and get out of it, though. This is a tutorial, so it doesn't count against the challenge, but boy does it hurt to do, as I'm sure this fellow getting shanked would probably agree. Despite it putting a prisoner in danger, I choose the honorable path and forego stealth for the rest of the mission. Thankfully, all the screaming and the fighting failed to alert the man guarding the prisoner, and I'm able to save the captive. After this, I find absolute proof that this is one of the greatest games ever when I get to pet this fox. Truly, these developers know what the people want. Honestly, I almost quit video games after this because how can anything top that? An angry old dude gives me a bow, and the game gives me no option but to fire it. Naturally, my inner spite tells me to do what must be done. When we set an ambush for a patrol, I completely ignore what the game wants and just rush them with my sword. Unorthodox, sure, but effective. Pretty sure these archers are stormtroopers in disguise anyways. While hanging out in a dark forest, you know, like one does, I stumble across my childhood bestie, Ruzo, stabbing Mongols. Normal Tuesday, eh? Naturally, we strike our epic back-to-back pose like besties do and get to work being awesome. He informs me his mercenaries are starving, so of course I get right to taking what little supplies he has, and even gain a cool Ronin outfit. I take a little detour to the mountains for one very crucial task. First, I take down the Mongol army. Then, I'm headed to fight Aku and get back to the past. When I get into a duel with the Mongol warlord, all I can wonder is how the heck Samurai Jack managed to keep his robe so clean. 'Tis hard to wear all white out here. Getting sidetracked hunting a murderer, I discover this woman who seems to be caught in a fascinating loop of following me, yet always trying to leave me. This has to be a red flag, right? When I finally track the killer down, he needs me in proximity for the fight to begin, but I decide to play with him a bit. As I know this would not affect his health, I have some fun shooting him with some fire arrows. He's very dramatic about it one moment, before going back to standing in silence. Weird guy. He does manage to land a couple hits, but thankfully I heal heavily each time before sending him on his way, this time with another flame arrow straight from God. It's always fun when you do great in an epic boss battle, go 30 feet, and immediately get killed by some lowly henchmen. Game really knows how to humble you. I'm faced with a stealth mission, which would be simple if I could do the old shiv. But unfortunately, that's against the challenge rules, so I'm caught a couple times trying to parkour past this guy blocking the ladder. How the heck did this alarm go off with no one up here? Darn ghost guard. After the guard spotted me yet again, I decided off him out of spite. Turns out, that worked, and no alarm was sound. Sure, the guards were coming for me, but I guess that's not enough. How convenient. I then spin the next, I really don't want to exaggerate this, so I would definitely estimate 50,000 years getting killed by these guards. Yep, that sounds about right. When I finally did win, I was wiser, older, and far more deranged than those beautiful years ago when I had first arrived. The next moment, we planned a great stealth approach to some boats, using a massive distraction with Yuzo's men. But of course, I immediately ignored that plan and sprinted through, forcing me to kill everyone. Run like crazy and stab everyone. It's just always such a foolproof plan. I then proceeded to discover the resting place for a great bow, because in a sword-only challenge, that makes total sense to go out of my way to collect, correct? Unfortunately, in the duel for it, I looked down at my phone at the exact moment it begins, leading to a quick death. This is why samurai always kept their phones on silent. Texting and sword fights don't go hand in hand, kids. Never forget that. While taking a stroll in a Mongol camp, I accidentally leave the fight by going through a gap in the fence. You think the enemies who were in the middle of trying to kill me would rush out after me. But nope, they somehow lost sight of me. I'm fairly sure the Mongols did not have access to glasses at this time, so I guess they can't be fully to blame. I finally remember to free Yuna's brother, Taka, and we flee right into a patrol. I could avoid them in the grass, but what do I look like? A reasonable fella? Taking them down, I return to the prison camp to free everyone else. It's here I discover the guards are not only blind, but suffering from severe hearing loss as they don't notice the battle waging in the room right above them, or me rolling like a madman right behind them. It's a good thing I don't do stealth takedowns in this challenge. It'd be cruel at this point. Having freed Taka, he builds me a grappling hook so I can embrace my inner Batman and save my uncle who's imprisoned by our friend the Khan. Before I get to my uncle though, I go for a nice swing right above the Mongols' heads. Especially fun, since whenever they noticed me and came to investigate, they would lose sight of me once directly underneath them. Whatever the Khan is paying these guys, it's too much. Am I known as the Ghost for my awesome stealth prowess, or just because these guys are blind as can be? I'm fairly certain everyone is a ghost to them. I sat back and enjoyed the show as the Straw Hat mercenaries fought to take down the camp. With that, it was time to go save my uncle. Inside, I split up from Yuna to sneak in, and instead of immediately letting her in to help me fight, I of course decided to fight all by myself. You would think getting completely destroyed over and over again would be enough motivation to let Yuna in to help, but these guys made it personal by not dying. How dare they? When they finally fall, I was heartbroken to find Ruzo had chosen to betray me in favor of the Mongols. Perhaps it was a bad idea to take what little supplies he had, completely ignore his stealth plan, and just sit back and watch his men fight to the death. Surely he's not that petty to care about those little things, right? I guess he is. Having finally freed my uncle, we decided to go liberate a Mongol camp together. To my horror, I discovered the Mongols now have shotguns. Definitely did not see that one coming. After that, Sora and I decided we needed to sleep for a week or so. We earned this rest. While tracking some Mongols, I stumble upon a bear. Don't worry, I know the rules. Stand still and it will respect that, right? That's not for grizzlies, is it? No, I'm sure I'm safe. You see, the problem was I moved at the last second. That's why it didn't work, I'm pretty sure. Good thing I've learned to pick myself up. As I headed to the next mission, I was forced to leave my horse in order to swim for a while instead of being smart and just going around. It was truly stunning when I reached the other side, whistled, and suddenly my horse was there. Whatever black magic my horse uses to instantly teleport, I'd love to know it. She's the real ghost. Old Uncle and I bond some more by tearing through another Mongol camp, and then I'm forced to make use of the Mongols' artillery equipment. If only I could chuck my sword like a boomerang instead. I do find it curious how my ally ship seems to be immune to my assault. Why do they even need me to protect them? I seek help from Yuna's people, and they aren't having it, thanks to my uncle kicking their butts years earlier. When I try to deal with the Mongol force regardless, I'm immediately shot to death each time. Turns out these Mongols are fantastic shots, whenever the plot requires it. I decided to check out all the different sword stances I've learned, but I'm sure to anyone watching, I look completely insane. Hopefully that only builds my legend more. The Mongol assault on Yuna's people begins, and I'm ready to give my life for them. I probably didn't have to give it this easily, though. Having repelled their assault, I can easily sneak through their defensive forces, but where's the fun in that? I'd rather take on their whole army, Samurai Jack style. I'm trying to build a legend here after all. I take on their general, and after soundly beating him, I terrify the rest by beheading him. No worries though, this is just like Lego, right? I'm sure someone will put his head back on and he'll be fine. I've earned the people's respect, it's time to go learn poison making from my old caretaker. I really do not want to use it, and I even try to warn the mercenaries by shooting all around them, but these guys have trouble noticing whole people. There's no chance they're going to notice some dirt moving. This leaves me zero choice but to kill one of them with the poison. I'm sure that's the last time I'll ever use poison at the very least. Tracking down Yuzo for justice, Taka comes along to help as a distraction. I never asked for this though, and I make sure no Mongols chase him and just fight me. Where's the fun and fair odds? When I make to Ruzo, his ally knocks me out, proving they aren't the only ones with bad stealth detection. When I wake, poor Taka has been captured as well, and when given the chance to kill me to save his own life, he chooses to attack the Khan. Poor brave boy, if only he had just cut my rope, that would have worked out much better. With Taka's death, I go into a rage mode, wiping out the fort. No one kills that sweet guy that had like 2 minutes of screen time. It's unacceptable. With that done, it was time to assault Khan's captured castle. Don't worry about me, I've had a great human shield to hide behind. Unfortunately, the Mongols use a fire horse to wipe out a good deal of the remaining samurai, even though I clearly did everything I could to stop it. Turns out, my menacing stare wasn't quite enough. You know how I said that using that poison was the last time? Yeah, well the game doesn't agree when Jin chooses to poison the Mongols' milk in revenge, wiping out the rest of the Mongols guarding the castle. If only these guys didn't all decide to drink their milk in total unison, this plan wouldn't have been so effective. The Khan had fled once again though, but Ruzo stayed behind to get his butt kicked by yours truly. This is for knocking me out. Oh, and yeah, killing my friend. That was bad too. Sadly, Uncle Dearest is not happy with me for defying his orders and poisoning everyone, so to jail I go. Thankfully, escape is conveniently easy, but comes at the greatest cost. In the escape, Sora is shot multiple times, but Jin is forced to push her on anyway. To be honest, at this point, it was pretty hard to see the screen through blurry, puffed up eyes, but damn, a samurai did this, so I'm switching to the Mongol side just for this if I can. Enjoying Sora and getting shot shortly after by a poison arrow, and when I'm ready to join her in horsey heaven, Yuna ruins it by saving me again. I'm forced to ride another horse in order to progress, but I don't have to like it. Yuna and I head to take an old outpost to build our forces, and I once again completely disregard the stealth approach so I can duke it out with all the Mongols. Sure, a hostage is put in grave danger, but that's a small price to pay for my honor, right? I may be missing the entire point of the story, but I'm the main character, so I can get away with it. My next mission objective was quite a ways away, but the death of Sora was pretty sore still, so I was forced to sprint the entire way. I came across a Mongol outpost along the way and rediscovered the benefits of the high ground. It's amazing how many bodies can fit up here. When I finally got to where I need to be, I let my allies do the fighting while I practiced my amazing stealth skills. This pole is a surprisingly effective shield. Shortly after, the game tries to force me to assassinate again, but I refuse. Thankfully, the second attempt works out. Despite being even closer to the other guard, he somehow fails to notice. I now know where the Khan is hiding, but first I must get my uncle's help in fighting him. Before then, I get a new horse who looks identical to my last one. May she rest in peace. I name him Nobu, meaning trust, because I trust he won't die on me. I sneak into my uncle's castle and decide to ignore what the game wants so that I may patch things up with my uncle. Not quite the hello I expected. He didn't even hesitate. I test their observation skills, but I guess a flaming arrow isn't particularly noticeable to them until I put it right at my uncle. I really push how far I can test them when I sneak right into their meeting. Only thing that finally gets their attention is when I try and play them a song. Guess they're not music lovers. Giving up on the face-to-face, I leave my uncle a letter and head to finish the fight with the Khan. I fight through his hordes before my good old uncle shows up to help. It's time for the final battle. This wouldn't go like the first time we fought at the start of the game. I've learned so much. Oh, never mind, I'm dead. I've learned nothing. Nothing destroys the epicness of a final fight like getting my butt kicked over and over again. When I finally managed to get ahead, he chucks poison in my face. He cheated! I'm not sure why I'm surprised when he literally showed me the poison before the fight began. Worry not, I simply shrug my shoulders real tough-like and the poison no longer bothers me. I chase the Khan to his ship and get right to work losing quite a bit. It especially hurt when I managed to lose and win the fight at the exact same time, so I had just to stare at the Khan's dying body, knowing I was so close. 30 tries later, and at long last, I defeated the Khan. Never in doubt. You would think with the final boss defeated, the game would come to a conclusion and we can all skip happily in the leaves. But no, the game wants me to suffer even more. My dearest uncle has been ordered to kill me by the Shogun because my methods are making the people actually think for themselves. And he no likey. The real reason I'm pretty sure is because the developers of the game want to make me cry. Very rude of them. Dearest Uncle is one of the easiest boss fights in the game, going down on the first try and leaving me with the choice to give him an honorable death or say, I'm gonna head out. Guess I'm not much of a samurai after all. But there we go. Ghost of Tsushima has been beaten with only my sword and my tenacity. I would give the challenge a 6.5 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. The sword was highly effective, and while there were endless moments where using any other weapon, and especially assassinations, would have made it incredibly easier, I felt the game made it very possible to win with just my blade. I probably would have died far less though. It was a blast regardless. This beautiful, heart-wrenching game is going down as one of my favorites of all time, and I highly recommend it to everyone. I thank you for watching, and truly hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed playing. If you did, maybe follow the honorable path and leave a like, or even subscribe. It helps quite a bit. Honorable or not, I hope you have an amazing day, and hopefully don't get in a duel to the death with any family members. See you later, friends.